second game here, and we're going to be going on to a map that I personally am not actually all that familiar with. It was the winner of a Team Liquid map-making contest, and I believe it was first featured in MLG Spring Championship just well, however long ago that was.
Couple weeks?
I can't remember. A couple weeks. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast, dude. It is going to be MLG Frost as our next map. Spawning on the bottom right-hand side, he's down in that 5 o'clock position. Took game number 1. Let's see if he can take game number 2 and win out this best-of-3 series in a quick 2-0 fashion. It is going to be TP Esports Aegis as the red Terran player.
And his opponent spawning in the upper right-hand position, close by ground-ish. I guess.
It's a big map, whatever.
It's a big map. He will be our Blue Zerg, who dropped the first game, looking hopefully for a bit of revenge. It is going to be from Team Yeti, our Blue Zerg, Nivek.
I'm really interested to see how Nivek handles this game. Is he going to be going for that same style? Because, you know, a lot of the time, you know, you win game 1, cool. I'll just do the same thing I did last game until my opponent shows that they can counter me. In this case, Nivek lost the last game, but, I mean, his composition was good. He just needed banelings earlier in that first engagement. If he had done that, then I think things would have been completely different. We might still be in that game, to be quite honest. Just losing that third base the first time was the big changer there. So I'm curious to see where Nivek exactly is going to be going. Aegis, on the other hand, I wouldn't mind seeing Biomine out of him again. I think that worked perfectly fine.
Yeah, it worked quite well. I'd love to see other things as well, but like you said, if something works, don't change it because it isn't broken. We do see pretty much standard stuff, no proxies, no anything like that. It is, like you said, a pretty big map, so I'm inclined to believe it will be fairly macro-esque. We're probably going to see a general, pretty standard 3-base Zerg here, which is going to be a little bit easier on this map to be a 3-base Zerg than it was on the last one, simply because your third base is going to be just a hair bit more defended as long as you take the one that is facing away from your opponent. But you see, once again, that 15 hatch coming down from Nivek, very standard. And we see a little bit of an earlier gas this time out of Aegis. It might be an earlier factory as opposed to the Barracks Command Center factory. It might just be straight up factory.
I don't know. This could also be a Reaper opening. Actually going to be opening up with the Marine. So, yep, looks like it's just going to be a straight up factory to start off the game. I thought the Reaper opening might be alright on this map, but if you look over at Nivek's base here, I believe that this is too big for a Reaper to hop. I don't know. It's always kind of hard to tell until you've actually like tried it out on the map yourself there. In the meantime, Nivek just dropping down that spawning pool. No gas yet. So, I don't know. He got kind of a later gas in his last game, too. And I'm looking at Sleeper screen. Is that a Christmas tree?
That is absolutely a Christmas tree.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. It's all those little things that Matt makes us put in where you're just talking and then you look at it, it's like, well, my train of thought's just gone now.
Absolutely gone.
It is going to be a factory coming out of Aegis here, so probably just going to be opening up the same way here, except the command center is going to be a little bit later, so this time I feel like he might need to do a little bit more damage rather than just killing off 5 or 6 lings. I think he needs to roast some drones this time.
Yeah, absolutely, but because it is coming just a little bit sooner, we very well could see him be able to get into a base, do a little bit of damage. But you see the Marines killing off that little destructible debris there. Actually, rocks. Just rocks, not debris. Just good old Dustin Browder rocks.
Oh my gosh, that gas is now on the way for Nivek here. And, I mean, I don't know if he's actually going to be going for speed this time because that gas is really late. Might be looking to lay down a Roach Warren or maybe go for a lair as well. I don't know if, you know, maybe in Metabolic Boost is that big of a deal on a map like this. He might be looking to play a little bit more defensive, maybe get some Roach out to defend against the Hellions. We do have the factory flying over for the reactor. That reactor actually a little bit delayed there. And I'm wondering if that might have almost been like almost a little bit of a slip up by Aegis, because normally the way this times out is right as the reactor finishes, the factory finishes, and you just switch them off real fast and easy. He is throwing down that command center down on the low ground. Bunker, kind of the same position we saw last game. Pretty solid opening by Aegis, if not maybe just a little bit wonky. This time though, Nivek going for a very quick third base here. This is much quicker than the last game here. And we do almost have 100 gas. How's he going to be spending that? That's what I'm curious about, because the 100 gas point's kind of big. And it is actually going to be metabolic boost. Just not super concerned on getting that right away this game.
I actually completely disagree with that situation. Now that the Lings have scouted up, have seen the fact that there are already 2 Hellions on the field, making their way towards Nivek's base. Nivek has nothing to defend right now. He has 2 Lings and 2 Queens, and that's about it. With about 4 Hellions jumping in, trying to snipe some drones, this could be really barbecue-y really fast.
Yeah, those Hellions trying to poke forward. The other Hellions are not there yet. They're actually going to be running straight up into the main base. They're going to get a full scout off of absolutely standard play. not going to be that big of a deal. Aegis, I am sure, breathing maybe a little bit of a sigh of relief. Just going to kind of run in here. He's going to see that the spawning pool is doing stuff. Not even taking shots with those Hellions. Both of those going to get caught, and that means that this harassment pretty much going to be worthless. There's only 2 Hellions left on the low ground. How many Zerglings got spawned out, though? 10 Zerglings. So that's 5 larvae. I don't know. I think that's just about a perfect reaction there out of Nivek, and might even pick up a third. Nope. Those Hellions get off of creep. Metabolic boost, and not quite done yet, so they're just going to be able to poke up to the third, scout out a little bit. But for the most part, Aegis delaying that command center, not really getting payoff for it.
Yeah, not pretty much at all. He is going to come over here, deny workers at the third base, but that's really not going to do anything. I mean, I guess he's getting some larva kills. That's always nice, I guess. But with the Lings coming down here and getting on that creep, they're going to be able to cut those Hellions off without too much of a problem at all. But good positioning from Aegis is going to allow those Hellions to survive once again, and now they're going to start getting a little bit more pesky.
Well, it looks like the Hellion production is continuing here. And you know what? I'm almost wondering if we might see the battle transformation upgrade come into play here. I think that's what it's called, something like that. Pretty much just allows the Hellions to turn into the Hellbats. Oh my god, I was just sitting here going, Battle Hellions, right? No. It allows them to turn into Hellbats, which really we have not seen utilized. Zerglings almost catching these Hellions off guard, not quite going to be able to get them. And Hellion production, there we go, just now getting stopped off there. Stim pack is on the way, by the way, so we are going to be transitioning over into a more biocentric play for Aegis. No mines in production quite. Caster's Curse right there. Mines now in production for Aegis, so going to be going for that same style here with just a few extra Hellions in the early game. Might be able to roast away some extra Zerglings here. Aegis being really pesky with these.
Yeah, he has killed a lot of Lings at this point. That's about it, just a ton of Lings, but the more Lings he kills, the more drones he kind of kills, because those drones are, or those Lings are not going to be drones. The larvae is spent on the units as opposed to the workers, which means if we do look at the harvester count, it is 37 drones to 31. Generally, it's Zerg at this point in the game. You want to be a little bit further ahead on Hellions, especially with such an early third base. Other than that, it looks like the Baneling Nest is on the way, so it will be very similar play to what we saw in the last game coming out of Nivek, whereas it does look, once again, like you said, it's going to be it's just going to be Marauder Biomine with a little bit of supply block mixed in there.
Marauder Biomine. Marauder Bio... Why can I not say that? It looks like this is actually a very wide open map, so maybe a little bit less effective for that mine play, and the Zergling is going to run right by the Hellions, get roasted away. Marauder is going to finish off that little pack. The Zergling is getting chased down now by the Hellions, but with metabolic boost, probably going to be able to get away, but he lost quite a few Zerglings there, and guess what? Aegis is barreling down towards that natural expansion once again.
We've got 26 Lings on the way, but no Banelings quite yet, no centrifugal hooks, nothing along those lines at all. We do see some of the Lings trying to catch these Hellions. They do catch them on the ramp, but unfortunately there just wasn't quite enough Lings to deal with that. One Queen goes down, the second Queen will follow. Now it's pretty much just a couple of Hellions, some Marauders versus pure Ling, now making the Banelings quite a bit later than would have liked, because his other set of Lings did get caught in the middle of the map. This Queen will fall at the third as well. This third base is looking pretty in a lot of danger. There we go.
Peek it, I think, is the word you were looking for there.
There it goes.
I think Nivek's last hope is, oh man, the Baneling's rolling in, going to get connections on the Marauders. Baneling's not the greatest first Marauders, but in this case, it did the deal. He's just falling back on the hope that these 10 Mutalisks spawning out can do at least enough counter-harassment damage. There are no missile turrets down. I do not think that Spire has been scouted. There is one engineering bay at least, so he does have the potential to get the missile turrets down, but has he scouted that Spire? No, he has not. In the meantime, Zergling's going to catch out some Marauders and some Marines in the middle of the map. Now we have a few extra Mutalisks in production. I think he was delaying those Banelings so much, desperately hoping that he could get as many Mutalisks out as possible, then realized that he needed them just once again a little bit too late. A medevac full of Marines going to be loaded up, going to be boosting over to that natural expansion, going to be flying right past these Mutalisks. Mutalisks having to turn around and reveal themselves to take out that medevac. That's not exactly what Nivek wanted, but he is going to get a free medevac full of units there. That's actually a really big pickup for Nivek, and Aegis drops in supply for the first time this game.
Yeah, that is a pretty nice pickup by those Mutalisks. It was one of those moments as the medevac flew past of the, all right, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. But the Mutalisks did in fact see the medevac and chase it down to inevitably finish.
Oh, this Widow Mine right over the Mutalisk, going to get a nice Mutalisk shot there and wounding a couple others, but with that new health regeneration, Heart of the Swarm, Mutalisk probably going to be just fine. Aegis flying over, taking his third base now, and everything's just kind of finally evening out. There is, by the way, a Widow Mine in the third base of Nivek. There's a Widow Mine, a couple near the ramp there. Those are finally going to get taken out by a couple of overseers and banelings. But if you look over that income tab, Zerg player is still behind, not only in Harvesters, but then you have to count in the Mules as well. Mule is flying over towards this natural expansion. The one Widow Mine getting a nice shot off. The missile turrets are there, prepared and ready to go. Mutalisk not doing any damage there today.
No, they only got one worker kill. It's not exactly what they wanted at all. If we do look at the base of Aegis, he's got missile turrets pretty much spread in just the right positions. One in the main base, couple further on defending the barracks. You got 3 in the natural. The only place that is undefended right now is that third base, but due to the fact that I believe Nivek does not know about that quite yet. No, he does not. He has an overlord about, or an overseer about 1.5 feet away from it. It is scouting this Tastalope. It is a Tastalope.
A Tastalope?
It's a Tastalope.
I don't know exactly where that. Oh man, Mule is actually getting caught out in the middle of the map there. Widow Mines and Marines there. Widow Mines not bro, but he cannot engage that many Marines with Stimback and with Medvac support. Actually going to turn around and try to engage that. That's not smart. Needs to have everything alive with this next push. 11 Banelings in production. Is it going to be enough? They're going to be coming over towards this ramp here. Widow Mines burrowing down on the ramp. That's good positioning for Aegis. Finding pretty much the only choke point on this map to be able to engage on. Zergling trying to run forward, soak up some of those Widow Mine shots. They're not quite going to be able to get it. And now Nivek just needs to go for it. The Banelings rolling in. They're all clumped up. Widow Mine shots going to miss them. There we go, getting a couple of them, but the Banelings exploding on the bio, and that's going to take out quite a bit of that. I think this push is going to be shut down now by Nivek.
Yeah, the re-macro coming in from the Zerg player, a decent amount of links, as well as those Mulas is going to push back the push of Aegis. The Medivacs, however, do survive. They boost on out of there, but the Mulas are in hot pursuit, possibly going to pick off another 1 or 2, but as they meet up with this small little group of Marines, they will probably be safe here. Couple of changelings moving in to the natural of Aegis as well. Mulas are sharking around the map, going to be going towards that third base, which also has a couple changelings there, so he does know that there are no missile turrets defending that base.
Yeah, those Mulas are going to be flying in here. By the way, I just want to point out the fact that up to this point, I believe Aegis only has 3 barracks on the field, something like that, and they are all massively stacking up on their chain of command there. So he'll have like 8 Marines queued up at 1 barracks. That's not good at all for Aegis. That third base getting lifted off. It's getting harassed pretty heavily by these Mulas. That's going to be denied, but in the meantime, Bio Mine moving out across the map. Baneling's not quite ready yet. Centrifugal Hooks, though, has now finished. That is going to be helped so much with this engagement, and now Aegis really cannot afford to engage on creep, but it looks like Nivek might not want to wait that long. He's trying to push forward with these mines. They're getting soaked up there, and here he goes, pushing through that bio, getting picked up into the medevacs, and Aegis going to actually just fly over the entire army and land at the third base.
I mean, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Just a handful of lings are going to survive there, but with a decent amount of lings popping out here, he will more than likely be able to hold that without too much of a problem. Back at Aegis' base, the Mulas have cleared out that third base, completely killed that command center, and are now hovering over the production of Aegis. A couple medevacs that were going out for a drop have returned, however, so they will be able to push back those Mulas back at Nivek's third base. We do see about 6 Marines alive, and they are giving Nivek hell right now. They are doing a lot of damage where they really shouldn't be. They were able to kill so many lings simply because they had the medevac support there. Really solid survivability by Aegis' Marines there. I'm actually curious, what are the upgrades here? 1-2 versus the 0-0 of Nivek's lings. So that definitely could explain why things are happening. But,
all these medevacs. Oh, that is just tragic. Oh, that is so much gas. That's 700 gas right there. Wow, that is a lot of Marines. Wow, that is not going to look too good for that Mutalisk ball here. That's going to be flying pretty much right next to those Marines and mines. Oh, it needs to move out of the way. There we go, finally catching on to that, going to move that out of the way. +2 flyer attacks for the Mutalisk coming down on the field. So that, I mean, if that tells you what exactly we're looking for Nivek here, there's a lot of Marines on. He's just continuing Mutalisk production. He needs some Banelings on the ground to be able to help deal with this, but he's just putting all of his gas into that one thing. No 4th base, by the way, for Nivek. He desperately needs that as well. And by the way, I mean, I just want to point out the fact Aegis had not been scouting up to the top left corner of the map, so Nivek might be able to sneak a ninja there, but it doesn't look like that's exactly where he's going with this. In the meantime, Aegis moving out once again, stimming up out across the map. Only 2 medevacs, though. He just wants to get over here and do as much damage as possible.
The mines! Couple big mine shots down in Aegis' third base, cleaning up a good chunk of those Mutas, as we do see him pushing in to the third here. A couple queens falling once again, probably going to take down this third base. The Banelings are just not ready. A handful of Banelings finishing just a little bit late. and it looks like Aegis is pushing quite hard. Only a couple banelings left on the field here, and that's pretty much it for Nivek's unit count. He's just sitting at 47 drones and a handful of mutalisks that are really hurt.
Yeah, but these Marines are really hurt as well. The medevac's low on energy. Can he pull something out here? The Marines getting really close to those banelings, but the banelings all getting canceled. The mutalisks trying to engage the Marines, and I don't think it's going to quite be enough. Losing so many mutalisks, falling back. The Widow Mine's still back there. If he can just fall back to those Widow Mines and force the mutalisks to take a couple of those shots, but I don't think he's going to need to do that anyways. 132 to 52 supply. Aegis pushing into the natural expansion.
And there is the GG, well played by Nivek, which means Aegis will take the series. He will take it 2-0 in the first StarCraft 2 game of MEG-CON here today.
Oh my goodness, Nivek put up a great fight versus the Terran Titan in Aegis. But in the end, it just wasn't going to be enough. Again, this game, I feel it came down to the fact that he just didn't have the banelings in position when they needed to be in position. Yeah, he was getting overlords and overseers sniped a lot, but you have to be scouting out for when that bio army is moving out across the map, so you know, okay, I have Zerglings, I need, you know, X number of banelings for this number of Marines on the map there. And kind of on that same token, he's using banelings versus Marauders and Hellions, and if you're going to do that, I mean, at least do it at the beginning of the fight and, you know, not try to delay them waiting for that mutalisk support to come out. I mean, there were a few little slip-ups by Nivek. He will drop down to the losers bracket where, you know what, I'll be honest, I think that he still has a chance to come back and push through that losers bracket. I mean, he played some very, very good games there.
Absolutely. It was just a couple mistakes that separate the really good players from the pretty good players. Great games out of him, though. Great games out of Aegis, of course, not to take anything away from him. Both players, good luck in the rest of the tournament here.